What's up, witches and wizards? Welcome back to the Wizarding World. I'm Mia Magic. I am so excited to share with you guys the Scorpio new moon download. I personally am a Scorpio moon. And you know, some Scorpio moons would say that it's really intense, but I personally like it. So interestingly enough, I'm wearing the same outfit as I was for the new moon download last month. And now I'm in the Dominican Republic. So you might hear some bachata music in the background, but without further ado, let's get into it. Scorpio is the sign of the witch, the sorceress. This is the sexual, seductive part of ourselves that we either are really comfortable with or that we feel like maybe we have to hide and maybe has been really shamed or maybe has been shut down or suppressed. And it's a part that lives inside of all of us. And that doesn't mean that it has to be like kinky bondage for you. It can be whatever part of you is your sensual, sexual nature. Even if that's more calm and demure, whatever turns you on, that's Scorpio kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you're into is very Scorpionic. Then it's also about your magic. How do you express what has been deemed and quite frankly lied about to make us think is the darkness? But what is your magic? What is your power? Because we access our power by transforming ourselves, by transforming our pain and our shadow and our weakness or our fear. That's how we access our power, right? Is by overcoming it, by witnessing, oh, wow, I was afraid of that thing and now I'm actually gonna do it, which is the first step of the Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. How we are moving through our own death and rebirth cycle in our lives. Scorpio is the sign of sex, death, and the occult. So that is the magic. That is the witchery. That is all of what would have been called like the dark arts, but they're only called that because of the church. These are not the dark arts. This is divination. This is magic. This is doing ritual, being in ceremony. Again, something that every native tribe would have known about. Scorpio has 3 iterations. First is a scorpion. A scorpion will literally sting itself to death, kill itself, would rather kill itself than have you kill it. So even though we might think that's a little crazy, there's also some empowerment in that. It's like, I'm choosing. I choose the moment of my death. I choose the thing or the situation or the experience that brings death to me. And now we're not talking about death like, and then off you go to wherever it is that you think that you're going after that. This is really the way that all of the native indigenous cultures would have thought of death, which is just another part of the cycle of life. So scorpions will literally kill themselves instead of allow someone else to kill them. And we have that same power. I'm going to choose to allow myself to be transformed by this thing or not. And then once it has died in the scorpionic astrological archetypal system, it becomes the eagle. It rises into that frequency that native cultures all over the world have seen as communion, one with spirit, higher perspective, divine wisdom. So I'm willing to, and we're not talking about suicide, I'm willing to allow that part of me to die. I'm willing to kill a pattern that no longer serves me. I'm willing to release or shed or banish an old behavior or way of being that is actually working against my goals, my mission, my purpose. And then because I chose that, because I was willing to be empowered enough to say, I'm taking charge of this and I'm going to let this die. I'm going to create this death experience. Then you rise and realize, oh, wow, it's sort of like eternal life. Because if we keep growing in our awareness, if we witness when we allow some part of ourselves to die, like my partner and I are always talking about, like the woman that I was during college is literally a completely different person than I am today. I used to go out to the club 6 nights a week and I never really drank or did drugs, but I would be up all night with all my friends who were drinking and doing drugs and getting super fucked up. I can't even imagine setting foot in a club now. I'm like, oh, over here wearing my little witch hat, like talking about the new moon, right? I remember living in New York City and like you would see the moon, you know, every once in a while, like between a building and you'd be like, oh wow, there's the moon. And when I first moved to LA, I remember seeing the full moon rise because you could actually see the horizon, and it just looks like this giant glowing orb. And I was like, oh my God, I called like 4 friends and was like, yo, can you see the moon right now? Like mind blown. I let that girl die because I wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't having deep conversations. I wasn't asking questions about the nature of the universe. I didn't really give a fuck, honestly. I was asleep and I didn't remember who I truly was. And I bless her. I'm like, cool, great funeral, peace, motherfucker. But I had to let that part of me die. And that's part for me, Scorpio moon. Your moon rules your heart and soul. It's your emotions. And so I had to let that part of me die so that I could let my heart and soul come alive again, which is the witchery. And then once you have that higher wisdom, I'm like, let that girl die. Like, let me be who I truly am meant to be. My Scorpio heart and soul transformation, continuous transformation, hence why I'm a life coach and why I teach other people how to transform and how to access their magic, like fully my heart and soul, very Scorpionic, Scorpio moon kind of vibes. That eagle sees that higher perspective and is like, okay, what's good? I witnessed that I made this choice to die to that way of being. And now I have this higher perspective, this higher wisdom. Now I'm more connected to spirit, to myself, to my soul. And with that higher wisdom, you might think, oh no, I'm gonna be afraid of death the next time. But no, because the third iteration of the Scorpio is the phoenix, that which can die and be reborn. Scorpio is truly the sign of rebirth. And it's also the 8th house. So 8 is the infinity, the eternal nature of our lives, even with the illusion of death. So for this new moon, you want to be focused on what are you here to transform. New moons are about planting seeds. And the new moon is when the sun and the moon are in the same place in the sky. So that means that the sun and the moon are in Scorpio right now. So this is the light, the sun, the life force, that which is being shone upon, illuminated, is what needs to be transformed. And the moon, our emotions, our heart and soul, is asking us to plant the seeds. New moons are for planting seeds. Full moons are for completion. For planting the seeds of the transformation within ourselves. What are the things that need to be transformed? Are begging you, hey, I'm shining light on these patterns. I'm shining light on this pain, these programs in your mind. What are those things that are asking to be transformed? So there are several amazing things that you can do. Scorpio is a water sign. So anything that you can do with water is amazing. I personally went all hiking, sliding down all these waterfalls this morning. It was absolutely spectacular. It's also Friday the 13th at this moment. So very, very wonderful. Then spent the rest of the afternoon in the Caribbean Sea. I mean, why not, right? And just really floating, connecting, feeling the womb of the mother. And like I said, Scorpio is that sexual sign. So then my partner and I had a beautiful sex magic ritual and made hot, sweaty, deep love. You know, we're in the tropics, so like pretty much everything's kind of sweaty right now. Hope that's not TMI for you guys. But even if it is, it's Scorpio season, you know what I'm saying? So like, let's keep it real here. So what I would highly recommend you doing is engaging with the water in some way. You can program your intentions, whatever you're intending to transform, into your water. And I would personally recommend doing that either through the end of Scorpio season, which would be about a week depending on when you're watching this video, or you can do it for an entire moon cycle. So until the new moon in Sagittarius next month. Or you could just keep doing it and program your water every day. I am, and speak in affirmative, positive, present tense. So don't use the word no. Don't use like I will or I'm going to. It's like I am. So speak the transformation as if it's already true and happened. You can add gratitude. Always, always, always recommend adding a little gratitude to any spell, okay? Just helps it, right? Because it makes you feel like you're already grateful for it. You can also get into the bath and be the program. You can be the seed. You can be the baby in the womb. You can be that which is being reborn. So you can program your bath with crystals. You could literally like write your intentions. What I would do is if you were gonna use like some kind of natural ink, like I'm personally kind of like woo-woo about that stuff. obviously look at me, like I'm woo about lots of things, pretty much like everything. And so I wouldn't use like toxic ink that's then gonna melt into my bath, but you could use like beet juice or carrot juice or anything like that that's super natural and has a color, and you could write your intention onto a piece of paper and then soak that into your bath. And honestly, if it was beet juice, that would be super cool, because then your bath would probably get nice and pink and beautiful, and that would be dope. And why not? Because like, who wouldn't want to have a pink bath? I think that personally, that would be really cool. That one just came to me, so you're welcome for that, because I hadn't even thought about that before. Sex magic, which you do not need a partner for. I was celibate for 3 years before I met my partner, and I did a lot of sex magic to call him in. I tell you what, I have a video about sex magic coming up. I'm sorry it's not already here for you, but you get the idea. It's using your sexual energy to create magic or to manifest. You can check out my video with Sky if you haven't seen that. It's really just about breathing into your chakras, breathing into the energy centers of your body to generate a high level of anticipatory or excited or activated sexual energy. It doesn't have to be sexual in that way. Obviously, it's Scorpio season, so it can be, but sexual energy and creative energy are the same energy, because we have sex in order to make new life, you know? Doing sex magic, again, with your partner or on your own, manifesting, witnessing all of those intentions. Who are you going to be when that transformation has occurred? Masturbating to that. I mean, sounds pretty cool, right? Then you get to just masturbate to yourself and like the highest version of yourself and the coolest way of you showing up and like looking or being or living or working or whatever it is. And personally, I think it's kind of hot, but maybe that's the Scorpio moon. Something that's very powerful and a little bit edgy for some people. Last Scorpio full moon, my friends and I had a funeral ritual, and we literally like read eulogies for each other. And it was like, here lies Mia. And then all the things that I was letting die, all the old ways that I was letting die. And for me, it was particularly around like the ways that I was showing up with my sisters, because sometimes I just get afraid of how much they love me and I like don't trust it. I'm like, oh my God, this can't possibly be. And then I don't show up well. I don't respond to texts, or, you know, I don't connect. And then they feel like, what the fuck? Like, I'm loving you so much and so well, and you're not responding to me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is an old pattern. So I had some of my best sisters with me for the Scorpio full moon, and that was what I was really laying to rest. I had also gotten my first big house and done some really powerful up leveling and stepping into a higher version of the queen goddess self that I am. And so it was a lot about letting all of that die too. So you can really go deep if you want. Scorpio is the depths. I mean, Pisces is the last water sign and the last sign period. So we think of Pisces as the deep subconscious, but Scorpio is like willing to go into the darkest places with you no matter what is happening. And like, I can still hold you. Like, let me still transform with you. I am the phoenix. You can't fuck with me. I will rise from the ashes no matter what they are. So having Scorpio friends when you're trying to do your own personal transformation is very helpful, let me tell you. But the most important thing, all that really matters about your Scorpio new moon ritual, is that you're planting the seeds for that which you are committed to transforming. Really looking at, and we talked about this a little bit with the full moon last month, what are the things that you can still see? And we just had our Witches New Year, so it's the new year for us. For those of us who work with the old calendars and the old ways, the ancient ways, the original ways, like the OG, you know what I'm saying? So this is the new year. We're just 2 weeks into the new year. So it's actually really a great time, because the Gregorian calendar, we still got about a month and a half of this crazy ass year. It's a weird year, right? It's very weird. And also, we remember that the original definition of weird is moving in the direction of our fate or destiny. So we're all moving towards our destiny. So what are you feeling like still needs to be transformed within you? What needs to die to make space for the new belief, the new pattern, the new way of being, the new way of showing up, the new frequency, the new vibration, the new archetype that you're ready to play, that you're ready to live, that you're ready to embody, that you're ready to receive, activate, actualize, whatever it is? What has to die so that you can be reborn from those ashes like the phoenix? This can have to do with your job, your sex life, who you are as a sexual being. This is really important for women. Like, so many of us have been totally shamed and shut down. And I mean, men too, honestly. It's important for everyone. We've been told that sex is like one way and not the other, and that it's okay to do this, but it's not okay to do that. So this is a great time to really look at like what turns you on. And not just what turns you on sexually, but what turns you on in your life. And what are the things that have kept you from doing, being, having, or receiving that? Finally, a really fun way to ritualize Scorpio new moon, in my personal opinion, is to fully dress the part, act it out, spend the day if you want, or like the whole ceremony, as that version of yourself that has already transformed. Do you speak differently? Do you look differently? Do you act differently? Do you treat money differently? Do you have a different job? Do you have a different partner? And you can create an entire ritual for yourself, like a whole day would be super fun, where you are living and embodying that version of you who has already achieved the transformation you desire. If you're interested in understanding how the Scorpio new moon is going to affect you personally and your chart even deeper, it's really important to know your birth time so that you can see where Scorpio falls, what house it falls in. And if you're not part of Witch School already and you don't understand what that means, then you can head over to miamagic.com and check out all the magic over there. We have a whole module on astrology so that you can really understand what it all means, what the houses and the planets and all of the stuff that sounds really confusing and is an incredibly in-depth and intricate science that has totally transformed my life and is so amazing and fascinating. But that's really helpful to know. My fourth house, my house of family, is in Scorpio. So maybe some shit with your family is gonna come up and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? But maybe it's just that you are actually being shown what in your life, in relationship to your family, is ready to be transformed. Maybe it's the belief that you actually need their approval. Trust me, you don't. I waited for my dad's approval for so fucking long. And when I finally decided to be like, whatever, I don't really care about his approval, and doing my life, living my life for me and for my own approval, swear to goddess, within a few months, boom, he's like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. You're so amazing. I'm like, duh, I already knew that, but it took you long enough. So that will be really helpful in understanding how this Scorpio new moon relates to your chart. So again, remember, this is all about planting seeds. This is all about setting your intentions, all of the ways in which you are ready to transform, in particular in relationship to that death, life, and rebirth cycle. So moving forward into the next chapter of our lives, so much has died this year. We can't pretend not to know about how crazy this country has been for people of color to live in. Now everybody understands. There is so much that's died. So many of those parts of ourselves that we were ignoring, that we were, shoving under the rug, that we were pretending like didn't exist. So much of that has died. So what are we making space for? What is the phoenix for us in our lives from this chapter, this year, really? This lifetime, perhaps. Maybe you went through your awakening during quarantine. Fuck yeah, welcome to the Wizarding World, bless! Maybe you're still on the fence. Great. What is the life that you want to create? And what would it take for you to transform where you are now into the life of your dreams? And this new moon is right after Friday the 13th. Micro download about Friday the 13th. Friday, Freya, Venerdì, Venuti, Viernes, Venus. All the Latin-based languages, their Friday is named after Venus. In English, ours comes from Freya. Same goddess, different names. The goddess of beauty, of love, of abundance. Okay, so it's Venus Day, it's Friday, and the 13th is the original number of moon cycles. 13 was a sacred number. It's the most sacred number. It's actually what makes our year. The moon returns to the same place after 13 cycles. So this is a sacred day that, again, because of the church, has been programmed and lied about to make us believe that it's some horrible thing. We don't even have 13 in the fucking elevators. It's insane. So this is a very auspicious time for Scorpio, the sign of the witch. So I hope that this video inspires you to activate and reconnect to your magic, your power, the version of your sexual priestess or god or goddess that just makes you feel alive, whatever that version of you looks like. Whatever gives you that pleasure, makes you feel that magic. I hope you have a blessed Scorpio new moon. I'm Mia Magic. Thank you so much for watching and welcome to the Wizarding World.